The following broadcast is a presentation of iRacing Motorsport and Simulations live on PTRTV. We'd like to thank all of our partners for their support.
He may get the run on the outside off of the back straightaway. 26 to Hallmark trying to go 3 wide. No one's with him.
Talking, bobbing and weaving down the back straightaway, looking for a way around. The 5 machine trying to take a look underneath the 3 car. He's gonna dive in down to the bottom. A huge move down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Back bumper. Can anything happen through the tri-oval? Walker Thomas to the inside. Here he comes to the outside. Side by side through the tri-oval. The 14. It's going to be a photo finish to the line. Who's going to get it?
Walker Thomas. Machine coming out of turn number 4. Tiller looking to go 3 wide, almost 4 wide. He's going to try to look for a gap. Bobbing and weaving for the lead down through the tri-oval.
Photo finish.
2 by 2. The 65 gets the win.
Welcome, race fans, back to PTRTV on LSRTV. Well, things are going to look a little bit different tonight because we are at the Okayama circuit in Japan for the Integrity Racing League here tonight. We are bringing you the elimination race of the round of 16, the round 1 in the playoffs. 16 drivers will get eliminated down to 12 as we hit the road course here in Japan for tonight's race. And it's going to be 45 laps around this racetrack. And as we hit this place, Evan, I mean, in the real world, we were at the Roval. Unfortunately, the Roval isn't completed in the newest version, so they chose to omit the current Charlotte Roval and head here. But same circumstances really do apply, Evan. We have absolutely no idea what to expect tonight.
Yeah, this race is going to be extremely crazy because I'd say no one has ever ran one of these stock cars here at Okayama. At least no one in this league, so no one's going to know where they can pass, where they can't pass. So these first 5, 10, maybe even 40 laps are just going to be learning where you can make moves and where you just can't. Yeah,
we can see here on the board Don Stevenson, who we know is kind of the road course specialist of the league. He's been always putting himself, circling these events on the calendar. But just right there, Adam de Blasio goes P2, but nearly a half second off, and that is a lot of time on a road course. But as you said, Evan, it's just, this is an unknown, and again, on the same vein as the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, where they went to the Roval for an elimination race. This is an elimination race for this league, so drivers who are on the cut line or near to it are going to really have to be on their game, and we can let you know who those drivers are. Right now, it is Guillermo Alvarez on the bubble, and then we have 10 points back. Excuse me, 4 points back actually. It's Brandon Kirkman, Nick Tarabush, Caleb Eisenhower, Neil Froelich. Those drivers only are 8 points out of the playoff cutoff line right now. So a lot of positions to exchange, a lot of opportunities to have a small event take you out of a championship hunt.
Yeah, the only playoff drivers that are going to be looking forward to this race is Don Stevenson and DeBlasio, who are already locked in.
Yeah, with his victory last week, Don Stevenson locks himself into the next round, along with Adam DeBlasio, who won at Las Vegas. So 2 drivers can go in here tonight with absolutely no worry. The remainder are going to have to be sweating these next 45 laps, but these drivers are lining up on the grid, so let's bring it to you. The PTRTV on LSRTV starting lineup here from the Okayama race, the Okayama circuit. I gotta get the exact name of this track right down. Don Stevenson starting on the pole tonight with a lap time of 1 minute 31 seconds, .443. Adam DeBlasio on the outside of the front row with William Dunn in third, Guillermo Alvarez in fourth. Then we have Tyler Herr in fifth, Sam Nieto in sixth, Caleb Eisenhower in seventh, and Eric DeBlasio rolling off P8.
And rolling off in the 9th position, we have Nick Zotner. Tiz outside, we'll have Renato Pastillo in the 10th position, Neil Froelich in the 11th, Alan Roll in the 12th position, Jay Heisman in 13th, Cody Smith in 14th, Lee Pearson 15th, and Alan Parry in 16th.
And then Jacob Fife in 17th, and Nick Tarabush in the 18th spot. In 19th is Joseph Yakes and Todd Thomas rolling out the top 20. And Kent Wetherell 21st, Camilio Thompson 22nd, and looking to be that is the lineup here tonight.
Yeah, a little bit smaller grid than usual for these guys, but with it being a road course race and a playoff race, not everyone is going to want to come out here and run, so only 22 cars tonight, but still enough cars to put on a good show.
Yeah, we'll bring up a track map for you for those not familiar with the lineup, with the configuration of this circuit. See some of the corner names there. The first corner actually is called the first quarter, and the last quarter is called the last quarter. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but may have run out of ideas there in the planning process. But it is 45 laps here tonight. No cautions, no stages, nothing. It is going to be a green flag run to green to the checkers, and I am assuming that it will be a one-stop race, full fuel load, 45 laps. Can't really imagine too much in the way of strategy tonight.
These drivers rolling off the back straightaway now. Actually, I guess this is kind of the short shoot, it's not the back stretch.
Yeah, it is a condensed pace lap here. They are starting this race about 2/3 of the way through the lap. They go through this corner of the track right here, kind of a sharp hairpin-esque turn, and then there's 2 quick right-handers here. You get the pit road entrance will be right here on the right. As they hit this, you can see right to the left hand of your screen right now. That is where the pit road entrance is. So that is where these guys will be stopping at least once tonight. And the quick right-hander right here puts us on to the long front straightaway here at Okayama. So get yourself ready for some road course action from Japan here tonight. Gonna give you the calls. We are waiting for Don Stevenson to get this race underway in that 47 machine. It's going to go late in the restart zone here. Very slow start, and there it is, the green flag in the air.
These drivers going down the front stretch. Pretty even start from that front row as they get ready to go down into turn 1. Let's see who's going to be able to make those lanes work. Looks like Stevenson is going to clear 40 over DeBlasio, but going down into turn 2. We'll see if DeBlasio can try and fight back. Not going to be able to there. And Stevenson pulling away.
Yeah, Stevenson already gets the edge there, and DeBlasio will fall into second rather quickly right now as they head through this sector of the track. This is a good passing zone, a sharp right-hander, and that'll set him up here as we go up the hill. Go on board here with Stevenson and show you what the lap is here. I do have to get this camera updated, folks. Sorry about that. They go down this back straightaway, a little bit of a left-hand kink, and then a sharp right-hander. That'll set them up into a little bit of a chicane, kind of a left-right flick type thing. They got to go hard left-hander here, and a little bit of a short straight, another left-hander, and that sets them up for a short little shoot type straightaway. Hard on the brakes yet again for another left-hand corner, and then an immediate switch back to the right here. Hard to make any kind of passes here. It's a very technical part of the racetrack, and that sets us up right here for those right-handers we were talking about. There's the pits right here, and then final corner on the racetrack gets us back to pit lane.
Coming through the last corner there, now onto the front stretch. That is 1 lap complete here at Okayama. And it looks like Stevenson already out to a little over a 6/10 of a second lead going down into turn 1. We'll have to see if de Blasio can try and close in. He did a little bit there. Still right around 6.5 tenths, so he is closing a little bit, but not very much.
And something these guys are going to have to worry about is the rear tires. These Cup cars are very prone to spinning the rear tires, so sometimes it's easier to play a little bit slower, save those rear tires for later in the run. But we do know Don Stevenson is the road course specialist, so I wouldn't expect him to really have much problems. It's going to be up to de Blasio to know how much pace he can push.
Yeah, and we'll start to see here in 5-10 laps who is saving their stuff, because I'm sure those rear tires will be hurting by then if they're not taking care of them very well. And looks like Stevenson is continuing to just pull away a little bit.
Right now, it's Tyler Herr has spun off the circuit right here. Let's try to go on replay and see what happened to him.
So he's backing out kind of in front of traffic there.
He was making that little right-hander to head down the back straightaway. He got sideways there, and then he had the mellow yellow machine behind him, the 22. He's on the brakes into this hairpin, and looks like he just got loose.
Looks like it just wheel hops maybe down into 5 there.
And then here he is now all the way back into the 18th position, trying to gain time as he does pass Cody Smith for the 18th position, and everyone is getting themselves situated into their own little bubble, as you will, but de Blasio still trying his hardest to stay within reach of Stevenson within 0.8 of a second, but trying to follow the guys who are on the cut line right now. We have, again, in the 12th spot is Guillermo Alvarez. He's currently running in 4th spot, so he continues there. He should be on his way, but Evan, I don't know if you, I think that there are some guys here. For example, we have Brandon Kirkman. He's not here today, so he was in position to fight. He was only 3 points. I'm sorry, what is it? No, 4 points rather behind Alvarez, but he is not here, so that almost completely negates any chance he has for the championship.
Yeah, if he's not here, there's no way that he's going to be able to continue on through to the next round.
Nick Tarabush is here. He's in the 14th spot right now. He's in 12th spot right now, 14th in the points. He needs to gain, right now, he needs to gain, do some quick math in my head, make sure I get it right, 7 points.
So he needs to finish 7 spots higher than Alvarez, but I don't see Joseph Tice here. So that could change that a little bit, where Tarabush might be able to get in.
Yeah, it all depends on if there. I don't think there are drop weeks. There may be. I'm not entirely certain. Usually they're not applicable in the playoffs. So that'll be up to the league rules how they carry about that. But again, the road course maybe scared a couple people away, and almost to the point of negating their playoff runs. It's kind of a hard boat to be in, but it's a style of racing not a lot of people are into. It seems to be kind of a hit or miss, obviously, with the Roval going on in real life, as Eric de Blasio has obviously been into the rear bumper of some machine or some wall, because he has some significant damage to that number 11. But now a lot of people love the road course racing in the stock cars. A lot of people are, well, it's just not their cup of tea. I'll tell you, I am most certainly a fan of it. Not so much in this machine. I can't really handle the cup car on the road courses anymore under the current builds, but still is fun to try to wheel them around.
Yeah, these stock cars are a lot of fun on the road courses, and it's going to be a lot of fun once we do get that Roval here on iRacing.
Nick Tarabush to the inside of Joseph Yates in the right-hander there, that hairpin corner, but now he's on the opposite side of the racetrack, on the outside for this left-hander, but he still has the momentum and is able to clear for that 10th position.
Tarabush, he started in 18th and now is up there in the top 10. So he's doing everything he can so far to try and get up there and make his way into the next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, and we have Sam Nieto, who is comfortably, he's third in the standings now. He is the 22 machine. He is trying to close in on Caleb Eisenhower. That is a battle for the 6th position. And for people curious up front, there is already a 2.5 second deficit now between Stevenson and de Blasio. So Stevenson has kind of turned the afterburners on, if you will, as we're already 5 laps into this race. And again, we don't have any stages. We don't have any kind of fuel limitations, no cautions on. So this is a green flag race, Evan. So I'm pretty inclined to say these guys will probably just want to split it up right around halfway and just do a 4-tire and fuel pit stop.
Yeah, pit right there around lap 20 to 25, I'd say, is when most drivers will come down pit road. They should be able to go, I'd say, 25 or 30 laps. That's kind of what I would say, but...
Well, and this again goes to the unknown. We don't have much experience with what is able to be done here. I mean, I know at Sonoma it's usually about 36 laps approximately, and that's a lot slower of a track, so you're not on the throttle as much, so you don't burn as much fuel there. But at Watkins Glen, usually it's about 33 to 35 laps where you're having a lot more on throttle time. So kind of a little bit of a cross in the middle I think we have here. So I would be keen to say right around 35, and obviously no way you're going to stretch 10 laps here.
Yeah, this track is definitely a mix of Watkins Glen and Sonoma. It's got a lot of fast areas, but it's also got the very technical bits between, I think it's pretty much turn 5 and the rest of the track.
So Don Stevenson up front by now 3 seconds. And I do apologize for this. I'm going to put a brief screen up, folks. I do need to fix the cameras on the Camaro right now because for some reason they don't automatically default for me, just so that I can have some better views on the Camaro machines. So, see, already done here. We can see on board here. I do want to go an entire lap around this track with the view that I wanted, which was this one, from the roof cam of Don Stevenson, who is wheeling it, and we'll get some telemetry up on the screen and show the exact variation that is provided here at Okayama. See, again, this is the end of the lap here. As again, I've talked before about the double right-handers that complete the lap, and let's pull up the telemetry here and see as he enters the final turn to complete lap number 6 down to about 69 miles an hour and down this very long front straightaway. Let's see what he tops out at. About 132. Obviously the long braking zone here in these cup cars, down about 65 into second gear. A little bit of wheel spin there, but he hangs on to it. This left hand here, a little bit of a straightaway here, and this is kind of just a flat out kink that you do. Gets you set up for a big passing opportunity here. This sharp, not quite a hairpin, but relatively sharp corner and a really long sweeping exit there. It is possible to get loose there in that segment, but that sets you up for, I believe it to be a longer straightaway than the front stretch is. You can see a much higher top end speed here, about 160 miles an hour. Hard on the brakes all the way down to first. Stevenson goes about 38 miles an hour. And this is where you're going to be really easy on the throttle in this short segment, and then another little short segment here setting you up for the left-hander, which puts you on to the shortest of the straightaways here at Okayama. So you got a little bit loose there on throttle, but again, he is doing it rather masterfully at this point. Left-hander, first gear segment of the track, and anytime you're in a first gear segment, you really just have to be so careful on the throttle, but now he's in second. Quick right-hander flip there. There's the pit lane on the right, and that is a lap here at Okayama.
Stevenson now up to just about a 4-second lead over de Blasio. We've had a few drivers go behind the wall. Jacob Fife, who was, I believe, in 9th in the playoffs, he has gone behind the wall, as well as Nick Zotner.
And Tyler Herr. Nick Zotner, we didn't talk about him, I'm sorry. It was Tyler Herr we talked about, who is in the pits with about 7 minutes of repair. So that puts 19 drivers still on the racetrack, Evan, and I'm already looking far back into the grid here. We have Lee Pierce, we have Kent Wetherill. They're already over a minute behind Stevenson. We have about 1 minute 30-second laps here, 1 minute 33 or so. So not too far from going a lap down already.
Yeah, those two drivers are obviously ones that don't seem to care for road courses. They were about 7 seconds slower last lap, and one of them, Lee Pierce, just went off.
Yep, quick spin. Didn't look like he hit anything, but just a little bit of a loop. Keeps itself going, but I'm going to pull up a little, the graphic here, the top 10 graphic we have, and you get to see the lap times as they go down. Stevenson had a 33 flat last time by and a 33.5, so he has a half second on de Blasio, and then just slowly goes down from there. But look at the 69 of Renato Postiglio. He's right there essentially on Stevenson's time, so that's rather impressive. He is, though, 11 seconds off the pace now. Has Guillermo Alvarez. I think he just made that pass. But all the way down to Neil Froelich in the 135, so about 2 seconds separating the top 10.
We generally see a pretty big gap lap time wise, but it's generally not that big. I'm assuming just because people don't really know this track very well, and even less in a stock car. So you can really just kind of see the ones that have put the practice in, which so far looks like Stevenson, de Blasio, just all the top 5 around fairly close lap times.
I mean, I know myself. I could run this track in a Skippy or a Mazda MX-5, no problem. But I mean, heck, even probably a Pro Mazda, I can probably take this thing out on. But a stock car, it's just most everyone knows Watkins Glen. I mean, Watkins Glen being, I hate to say it, but the easiest of the tracks on the schedule of road courses anyway. Sonoma is arguably the toughest track that you could probably take a stock car to, is Postiglio drifting there, that right-hander. But this track is just, it's an unknown. I know back in the 90s, I know, Evan, before you were born, there was a couple exhibition races actually at Suzuka in the Cup car. There was, I think, 97 and 98. Both were, actually, it was 96 and 97 were at Suzuka, I believe. And then 1998, they actually ran a twin ring Motegi. But it was only the short version of Suzuka, so it was only about 5 turns in all reality. But this being the full GP circuit, a lot of turns that just aren't meant for a car of this weight and lack of downforce.
It looks like Stevenson's about to come up on that 28 of Lee Pierce. Going through turn 2 now. Coming up through turn 3. Probably going to end up getting to him in turn 4, I would say.
And here he is on the right-hander, and Pierce kind of locks it up a little bit. I assume he'll... Oh, he went to the right there, and I don't know if he was trying to get out of the way or he just lost it to the right, but either way, he did manage to get out of the way. Not too much of a worry for Stevenson, as he is up over 5 seconds, but something that, it's good to, even for the drivers who don't have the pace, and Pierce, you can see him overshooting that corner, you still have to give a hand to the guys that they know that this is not their cup of tea. They know that they have no business being out here, but still they make the effort, they turn the laps, and they know that, hey, there may be a track on the schedule I don't like, but I'm still going to turn out and do my best and show that I care about the league, and you know what I'm going at, Evan.
Yeah, it's always good to see drivers that show that much support for a league, even if they are
support. That's the
that
word
far off pace, and they still show up and troop through the races, and I know I can do that, so props to them.
I mean, if this was me right now, I mean, I probably would have, well, first off, I probably went off track 5 laps ago and hit the wall and rage quitted, but even those drivers, you go off track, you hit the wall, fix the car, get back out there. You never know, you could pick up a couple positions, and even if you're not in the chase or you're not in championship contention, those extra 2 or 3 points, that could be the difference between you finishing 14th or 13th in any position. I mean, when you're committed and support a league, every little position, it does mean something when you're racing the same guys race after race, season after season, year after year even. No, Evan, if it was me and you, and that 1 point actually allowed you to beat me in one race, you'd want to get that extra point.
Yeah, for sure.
I know we don't like talking about that subject too much, but looks like the closest battle on track is between Eisenhower and Nieto. I do believe Nieto is on a downward spiral slightly. He started 6th, and he is currently running in 7th right now, so has dropped 1. Eisenhower in 6th, but last time by, Nieto was 4/10ths faster than Eisenhower, so we'll see if he is able to make some ground up. On the power here, down the little chute into the left-hander, and don't want that camera. Oh!
Both guys getting loose there.
Exit in the right-hander here, and cost Nieto about 3/10ths of a second, that wiggle there. Trying to dive it deep into the zone, try to gain something. He misses the apex just a little bit. That may cost him down the straightaway. I think it will. You can visually see he is losing some time down the front straightaway, but into the braking zone. We know that braking zones aren't as easy as they may seem, as I think they proved turn 1 yesterday at Charlotte Roval. So especially as the tires wear, your braking points do change. It is easier to make those simple mistakes.
Lee Pierce now in between this 22 and 51.
Nick Tarabush just getting a spot on Neil Froelich. But yeah, as you said, Evan, 28 in the middle, and 28, that same exact turn. Pierce doesn't really seem to know where to get out of the way. He's pulling to the right, but everybody is trying to go to the right, which is actually making it a pretty tight situation there. So at this point in the run, if you're Adam de Blasio right now, you're down by 5 seconds, and you're about, actually last time he was actually 3/10ths of a second faster, but if you're Adam de Blasio, do you almost, as a racer, it's really hard to have this mindset, but sometimes you have to just take a taste of reality. Do you almost just accept the fact that I should finish second, so I'm just going to try my best to not finish worse than second?
Well, for de Blasio, it really doesn't matter. He won at Las Vegas, so he's locked in. He can push as hard as he wants to. It really doesn't matter for him, points-wise, if he finishes second or if he finishes 22nd. So we'll just see what he decides to do.
Because I almost don't know, just based on the interval and the speed gap alone, I don't even know if there's anything he can do. Gaining that much time on a strategy call, if he was within a second or two, I think there'd be more he could do, but being now pushing almost 6 seconds back, I don't really know if he has a strategy call that would gain him that much time, and especially if he keeps doing that. That was a power slide there through that right-hander.
At this point, you really just need Stevenson to make a mistake somewhere, whether it be getting on pit road or just go off track and into the wall or just anything.
Yeah, that's where we're going with that, Evan. At this point, unless Stevenson makes a mistake, he's almost destined to finish second. So it's like, do you almost just have to go with the mindset of, well, once he screws up, I'm going to finish second, so let me just try my hardest to not finish worse than this.
Yeah, he has to a point. He needs to stay as close as he can in case Stevenson does make that mistake. He can be close enough to get around him and have a pretty decent gap back to him so he can't catch him back up. But he doesn't want to push, de Blasio doesn't want to push too hard as where he spins out or hits a wall. Yeah,
you have to kind of know the limits that you're driving in with. Right now, it was a 33.6 for Don Stevenson to a 34.2, so 6/10ths of a second off the pace. And who is that? That is the 83 machine, I think, going a lap. 87. VX going a lap down, so that puts 16 drivers on the lead lap. Cody Smith has about the distance of the back straightaway in between him and the leader at this point. So 16 drivers on the lead lap going down to 15, probably in the matter of about 5 minutes or so. And we'll give you a little field rundown at the moment. We have, as we said, Don Stevenson started first and has done everything perfect thus far, leading the race. Adam de Blasio running in second. William Dunn, I don't think we've talked about him at all. He's had a very smooth race here in third, but quickly closing in is Renato Postigio in 4th, Guillermo Alvarez in 5th, Caleb Eisenhower in 6th, Sam Nieto in 7th, Eric de Blasio in 8th, Nick Tarabush in 9th, and Neil Froelich rounding out the top 10.
78 of Todd Thomas currently in the 11th position, Camilio Thompson in 12th, Jay Heisman in 13th, as Lee Pierce just went around again, Alan Roll in 14th, Alan Pahari in 15th, Cody Smith in 16th, Joseph Yates in 17th, who is now on pit road.
Yeah, Lee Pierce in 17th right now, and Joseph Yates in 18th, as they are both in the pits. I don't know the extent of their pit stops now, and Kent Wetherell being scored in 19th at the moment. Out of the race,
everyone else is out.
Nick Zotner, Jacob Fife, and Tyler Herr all have retired from the session and are likely on on a boat back to the U.S. I don't know if Cup cars will fly. I don't think Cup cars would fly overseas. Well, maybe they do. Who knows? I can't say I've done my research on that, but Renato.
You're saying you haven't looked up to see if you can fly a Cup car overseas?
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, that wasn't in my pre-race research. Is what kind of cargo transport a Cup car goes into and fly overseas. But Renato Postigio is within 1.25 seconds on the back bumper of the 43, so that is a battle for 3rd. Postigio is running he's running faster than Adam de Blasio, but he's running still about 3/4 second off of the pace of Stevenson. So I think his battle at this point, he may be able to get up to 2nd if he really shows some sustained speed, because he is only 7 seconds behind Adam at the moment, but he does have that 43 that he has to navigate through first.
Yeah, and de Blasio, he had a really bad lap time last time. He was over a second slower than Stevenson. We'll see if he picks up this time. He ran a 1:35.0, and yeah, picked it back up to a 1:34.1. So he must have made a mistake in that lap before.
Yes, he did, and 4/10 second off of Stevenson. So it seems to be just which lap is he going to have the damage on, which lap is he going to bleed more on, and which lap is he going to bleed less on. It's more just minimizing the bleeding, because there really hasn't been any serious mistakes by Stevenson, nor do I really expect there to be. But we are only about 6 to 8 laps away from what we expect to be pit stops. I mean, there may be a slight variance if some guys try to get the undercut and get the fresh tires. We are about 2 seconds off of our original lap times.
Yeah, I think de Blasio, he needs to kind of pit road probably as soon as the window opens, but Stevenson, I think he needs to stay out at least 2 or 3 laps after de Blasio pits, because he can stay out and lose that time, and he'll still be in the lead, and he'll have a few lap fresher tires.
Yeah, de Blasio would, at this point, would need to pit about four laps ahead of Stevenson to even get the lead for any interval at all. So that's going to make his battle a lot more difficult. As looking at the telemetry, it does look like Postigio dropped back. He was only about a second back. Now he's about 2 seconds back, so maybe pushing a little bit too hard for the number 69 machine, and has gone off track. But we do have a battle shaping up, Evan, for 6th spot, Nieto and Eisenhower.
Nieto has caught back up. Go down into turn 10 now as Eisenhower's getting a bit loose there. Nieto really staying closer to that curb, and we'll see if he does it here again through 11. Actually, Eisenhower's a bit more on that curb there. Pretty even out of turn 11 down the front stretch now. We'll see if you can get into turn number 1 better. It's a place we can gain a lot of time, as you see Nieto doing.
The braking zone right there.
He gained a lot of time there. We'll see if he can keep it up on exit, and he's going to. He's going to keep all that time that he gained down into turn 2. And Nieto, he's really driving in a lot deeper than Eisenhower.
You can see the rear end damage to that number 22. I don't know if it's affecting the downforce or any kind of handling, but he's really pushing it, so it doesn't seem to be the case. He obviously has a lot more comfort in the braking zones than Eisenhower. Remember, these drivers do have, as there is some smoke, someone must have went off track recently.
Postigio, looks like he spun out there in turn 4. Yeah, just overdrove the corner, wheel hopped, and it came around on him.
Go quickly check that on replay. So he's going through the kink right there and on the brakes into the right-hander, and right when he made that right-hand turn, it went right around on him. No harm, no foul, but now he is right in this three-way battle for position right now.
5th, 6th, and 7th right there. Postillo, Eisenhower, and Nieto. I think Nieto is definitely faster than Eisenhower. I don't know about Postillo. I think he might be a little bit quicker than them, but just lost time throughout that spin as he's kind of starting to pull away from Eisenhower a little bit here.
And remember, these drivers do have the ability in the cockpit to change the brake bias. They can change it to their liking, even in a fixed setup. They can change it to their liking before the race, but they have 3% of adjustability on either side, so they can add more to the front, more to the rear, and that will affect how they are able to get onto the brake pedal, whether there's more stability or the back end is a lot more unstable. But that can also affect how the car handles and how you can rotate through the turns.
Stevenson had a little bit of an issue last lap with Lee Pierce going into turn 10 on lap 17, and now he has a little bit of front end damage and lost about 2 seconds there.
If I can,
He's entering turn 10.
Don't want to mess up too much, but I think we are. We'll have to go back a little bit, but we have some time right now. You can see towards the end of the lap, Pierce is coming into the picture right now. Coming through the S's right here at the end. I don't know if they actually are the S's, but again, I think it's another situation. Well, hard on the brakes there was Stevenson. Again, Lee Pierce just does not seem to know where he needs to get out of the way. It's just he gets caught at really awkward situations, but luckily Stevenson was just hard on the brakes and very, very minor contact, but still contact nonetheless.
I think the main thing there is he lost a little speed during that contact and lost about 2 seconds, but he's pulled away a little bit again. We'll see. Looks like he's pulled away about a half second over this last lap.
Yeah, now he's back up to about 5.5 seconds, but it wasn't more than that. It was over 7 as Eisenhower really loose there, trying to go through the, I guess this is the S's, and then into the hard right-hander. Got to be hard on the brakes, but you can't overdo it. We've seen many drivers do that. Eisenhower is really trying to gain on Postillo. I don't know if he has the momentum. I don't know if he has the pace, but he may be learning something from Postillo by running behind him right now.
Got our first driver coming down pit road for a scheduled stop, Neil Frolich, in that 17 on pit road.
And so the window must be open. These drivers trying to take it right now, but back to the battle with Postillo and Eisenhower as they go through, trying to find these corners right now. I think this is the Redmond and Hobbs corners right now.
Yeah, going through Redmond now and
this is
going
Hobbs.
into turn 9 of Hobbs.
And then this is Mike Knight corner. And then I think anybody could guess what the last corner is called.
It's called the last corner.
And then on to the front straightaway into
and then the first corner.
To the first corner. So if you don't know any corners at this track, take 2 guesses and you at least got 2 of them down. And go through the left-hander, that is Williams. And Eisenhower really gaining in the braking zones there. Heading through the Moss S's right here. Setting up for Atwood Curve.
You see Eisenhower taking a bit of a wider entry, and that's really helping him on the exit. He's going to get right to the back bumper, getting loose now.
Oh, hang on to it.
And the grass going to hang on to it, though. He's going to lose the spot to Nieto.
He gained a lot of momentum there, but he ended up getting in the grass there as Postillo didn't really leave the lane there, but he was trying to take advantage of it anyways. Luckily, he did save it, lost a position, but still has the car as we head into the hairpin. Easy enough. And then into Revolver, and the final turn we haven't mentioned yet, this is Piper. Piper corner, Piper turn. I don't know how to say that. I guess we're going into Piper. There we go. And now we know every name here at Okayama. But again, how here comes the 22 in Nieto. Nieto hasn't had the opportunity to put a stab up at Postigio, but he may be able to now as we head through the final two corners here. Mike Knight in last corner. But you can see he missed the curbs there, and missing the curbs, that'll set himself up for a little bit of a detrimented front straightaway. And Postigio will take that opportunity to pull out to about a half second, but who's going to be harder onto the brakes? That is going to be Nieto, just by a little bit. And 22 even got better exit off the corner, but through the S's here, does it look like the 69 gained the advantage.
See here into turn 4, which this is where Eisenhower gained all of his time, and you can see once again Nieto closing in on Postigio. So Postigio is not very good through turn 4.
And it did look like Eisenhower was able to get that run through, but up front, look up ahead of this, Nieto's going to go to the outside. If he can hold through the outside, he'll have the preferred position through the next corner, which is Revolver.
Contact, and Nieto's going to hang on to it, but lost that spot to Eisenhower.
Go back on replay quickly and see that. Go on board with Eisenhower. Eisenhower was well back there, but they were just so slow there through there that Eisenhower, I just don't know if he saw that coming. But either way, they all three hang on to it. Now we're just in a different order, and Eisenhower will take another stab at the 69 machine. Actually, they come down pit lane. Nieto will stay on the track, but 69 and the 51 down pit lane. Stevenson still up front by now 5.5 seconds. So ever since that little incident happened with Lee Pierce, where he lost a couple of seconds off of his lead, he kind of hasn't pulled away. He's been stabilized at that 5.5. Actually, last time by, de Blasio was faster by 1/10 of a second.
Let's see here what it is. Here in about a minute, we'll see what this next lap is going to be, but I wonder when they're going to choose to come down pit road.
I was going to say, there's a good chance it may be this time by. Well, no, as you said, in about a minute time, well, about 30 seconds at this point. Just have 2 more corners to navigate till the pit entry becomes available.
See if Stevenson chooses to come to pit road. Looks like he is.
Very tight pit entry here, but nothing that is overly complex, so he nails it. And does de Blasio follow?
Blasio's going to stay out.
So he'll get a lap led. Obviously, that does not mean anything in the grand scheme of things with the playoff picture, but it won't help de Blasio's cause to gain any time on tires, because automatically Stevenson's going to have about 2 seconds on him, at least for this first lap out. Don Stevenson with that first stall off pit lane. Exits the pits nice and smooth. And back onto the racetrack. See the difference here. He's now, de Blasio is just now onto the back straightaway, heading into the hairpin. So between the lead and the pit stop sequence here, only 35 seconds on pit lane here. That's one of the shortest pit road car around. That's Alan Roll in the 94 machine. He was spun around, I believe, through the S's.
And I think he just came out of pit road, so he is on fresh tires. Looks like him and Nieto had some contact.
Let's see, 94, the spam machine exiting the pit, still running an SS's Roll. But as you said, the Nieto in the 22 to the left side right now. This is the prime position for Nieto on the left side. Nieto into the left rear. Nieto did get through with just some time loss there, but the 94 having to go for a loop-de-loop.
Blasio coming down pit road now on lap 23.
So remember, it was about a 5.5 second deficit that he had, and we know it is going to be a little bit more now that Stevenson had that extra lap on the tires as an advantage. De Blasio takes the entry into pit lane, and all's well the first time, so pit crew will get to work. Here comes Guillermo Alvarez. He was running in, I believe, 3rd position. He gets by, but Don Stevenson passing all these drivers and will be in the 2nd position, actually, because William Dunn has yet to pit and has scored as the leader last time by.
Be interested to see what that gap is between de Blasio and Stevenson. It looks like about 5.8 seconds. So he really didn't lose too much.
Now, he may be able to gain a tiny bit, all dependent on pace. We know, obviously, Stevenson was faster on the early part of the run, but in all honesty, de Blasio was kind of matching his times there towards the end, but at that point, already in it, Stevenson had pulled away so much that even de Blasio being faster by a 10th or 2 here and there doesn't really kind of a drop in the water, drop in the ocean, if you know what I mean. But we do have 3 drivers that are still running bumper to bumper right now. It's Alvarez, that's Postillo, that's Eisenhower. That's 5th, 6th, and 7th, as we are still waiting for Dunn and Terrabush to come to pit lane.
Be interested to see how long Dunn does decide to stay out. Pit road opening will be here on his right, and he's going to come down this time.
Dunn decided to pit.
He done pitted.
There you go. I was waiting for you to do something, but tried beating you to it there, but he will come to pit lane. No, he was running in the 3rd position, excuse me, beforehand. He's been so silently running in 3rd, just running his own pace, that we haven't really had the camera on him too much tonight. But
here comes Terrabush as well to pit road.
So that will cycle everything through back to where it was before. Stevenson out by about 6 3/10 seconds over Adam de Blasio, and Nick Terrabush is in pit lane, so he gets scored through along with Dunn. And again, it'll be Alvarez who is starting to pull away over Postillo and Eisenhower, but that battle is going at it right now off final corner down the front straightaway.
That is the last corner.
It's not the final corner.
It's the last corner.
All right. Did look like Postillo shot it a little bit deep in there, but was able to make the most of it. Didn't lose any of his lead. As we come through the S's right here, and you can see that is Dunn is in front of Alvarez, but he does have slightly fresh tires, so I think he should be able to pull away. We'll see how that works out, but still seeing if the 51 can make the pass on the 69. The 51's really getting through that corner very well. The Atwood curve, he's really getting off the exit of it really well. I don't think he's close enough to sling it in the braking zone, but we'll see if he can close up.
He's definitely closing in through the hairpin. Right to his back bumper, losing a little bit of time off the corner. See here down into turn 6, and now going to be coming through 7. I think Postillo might be a little bit better through these corners, but turn 4, the Atwood curve, Eisenhower just gained a ton of time on him. You see here through, he's getting a lot of time there, almost to the back bumper.
Yeah, I think he just decided to brake about 75 feet later than usual.
But it worked for him.
It did work. He now loses it off of the exit of this corner here. Alan Roll, a little bit the slower car here. This is going to be, we saw this happen with Lee Pierce and Stevenson, an awkward situation to catch a lapper, and it may be to the benefit of Eisenhower as he gets in the kitty litter just a little bit there off of the last corner. And down the front straightaway, he's far back, as now it is, who is that? The 94 machine.
Alan Roll just in front of Postillo in that 94.
Yep, and now Postillo had to go around the outside here, and as does Eisenhower, but not through as difficult of a corner, so it does look as though that was not as calamity-ridden as it could have been, luckily. But going up a little bit further, we saw, as I said, William Dunn exit the pits right in front of Postillo, right in front of Alvarez, rather. But he has pulled up by about 1.5 seconds, so I think the speed of the 43 is starting to show its stuff over Alvarez. Nick Terrabush trying to make a pass right now on Nieto. That is for the 8th position, so move Tarabush up 1 spot. I feel like we were talking about Tarabush, Evan, with the point standings, remember, where he was 7 points out, and now he's running in the 8th position. Obviously, with Brandon Kirkman not being here.
And Tice not being here.
Yeah, so again, depending on the specifics of how the rules work with missing a race, and I'm assuming that you can't use a drop week in the playoffs. I don't know for sure. I'm not going to speculate. But that could, this good run for Tarabush could put him into the playoffs for the next round, right?
But also, Eisenhower is 1 point behind Tarabush, and right now he's 3 spots ahead of him. So if that were the case, that would put Eisenhower in.
Yeah, because Tice right now has 2,054 points. Nick Tarabush has 2,046, so that's 8 points, and then 9 points back to Eisenhower. So those 9 points, it's just going to matter how it shakes out. And there are, as I'm getting confirmed by Michael Dool in chat, there are no drop weeks, so that will drop Tice out of the playoffs almost certainly. But it's really still going to be, actually, and with Kirkman as well, I think it's almost just an automatic lock now for Eisenhower and Tarabush. Again, this is
also why with 5, he's going to finish 21st in this race, so that might knock him out.
Yeah, I mean, it's so many close calls with guys that are out but having good runs, and then having Fife just having a bad run, and then having drivers not here. It's going to be a really close battle. At the end, we saw how close it was in the real world, having a 3-way tie for the last position, and it went on to the tiebreaker. And it's going to be rather interesting if we can figure out tonight in interviews. We will. Not sure how fast the points will get updated, but if we can get the update at the end of the broadcast, we will. Otherwise, obviously, we'll let you know first thing next week when we cover next week's race at Dover. But this battle has started to fizzle out just a little bit. So while that is the case, we're going to take a brief break and be back with you to cover the remainder of the race, so please stay with us.
Red Bull GRC is now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. Oh, oh, oh. So start ignition, count to 0. I just wanna be a superhero.
Hey, what's up, guys? Godspeed here at the iRacing headquarters. Some exciting news about the upcoming Rallycross World Championship. They've got a wild card entry, and yours truly is gonna get that spot. See you guys out on the track.
we're back here to coverage of the Okayama elimination race for the Integrity Racing League. We are in a 45-lap race, and there are 16 laps to go in it. Race summary thus far, as we just said with the lap count, we've had 3 lead changes, and Don Stevenson has done everything that you need to do. No cautions because they are not active tonight, so it's a green flag run to the end. Well, green to checkers here tonight. Stevenson has led all but, I believe it is 3 laps, and all 3 of those laps were just laps that were under green flag pit stop, so he's out by 6 seconds. I will say, Evan, that Adam de Blasio has really started to match his lap times. He's not losing much time, but he has that huge gap that it's going to be really pretty much impossible to work into unless a mistake happens from the 47.
Yeah, because last time by, it looks like Stevenson was about a tenth and a half quicker than de Blasio, so it just kind of seems like it's back and forth. Stevenson might be just trying to take it easy here and not make a mistake.
Now we were talking. Oh, go ahead.
Because if he doesn't make a mistake, he's going to win this race, because there's no way at their current paces that de Blasio can catch him.
Yeah, but before the break, we were talking about how William Dunn was starting to pull away from Alvarez. Has slightly fresher tire, well, actually 1 lap fresher tires to be exact, but Alvarez, I keep getting these names mixed up. Alvarez is really starting to make some time back up. It was over about 1.5 seconds. Now it's down to about a half second. Posticho is just in the back of the picture here. So these guys have a battle going on for third. Caleb Eisenhower has dropped back. I think there may have been a spin that we didn't catch. He's now 7 seconds off the back bumper of the 69. They were battling soon before that.
Alvarez was about 0.3 of a second quicker than Dunn last time by, and you can just see entering turn 5 to hairpin. Alvarez gained a ton of time on braking there and continued to hold it on exit. Going down into 6 and 7 now. Looks like Alvarez only about a car length off the back bumper of that 43, but in this section looks like Dunn is pulling away.
Yeah, maybe those slightly fresher tires, he's able to get on the throttle a little bit harder, but with Alvarez really just sailing it on in there in the braking zones, definitely makes that 43 have to look into the mirror and just, he sees what's going on. It could be a slight distraction in some corners, but we can see that Postijo is really making some headway to these drivers and trying to make this a 3-car battle off of the last corner onto the front straightaway.
Yeah, last time by, Postijo was way faster than those guys in front of him, and continues it this time about 0.7 of a second quicker than Alvarez, and about 0.6 of a second quicker than Dunn.
See, last time by, Don Stevenson in the 32-second bracket, the only driver to say that, 0.7 of a second faster than the 48 of de Blasio. And then only other driver in the 33-second bracket was actually Postijo, so he really doesn't have winning pace, but he has about top 3 pace, just doesn't have the track position and really no way to get it at this point.
Yeah, there's not any strategy calls or anything you can do to try and get some more track position, since it's going to be going green to the end with no more pit stops. And Postijo's really closing in on these guys in front of him. Actually went a bit wide there in turn 6, lost some ground, but it's going to be a 3-car race here soon for third.
And this is honestly a kind of race, Evan, where, I mean, depending what kind of hardware you have, whether it is a force feedback wheel or what tier of a force feedback wheel it is, but there's almost a level of fatigue at this point that there is wheeling a cup car around this place.
Yeah, you gotta do a lot of counter steering in this cup car because it is so loose off these corners with the wheel spin, so you definitely start to get tired after wheeling a cup car around tracks such as even Watkins Glen. You start to get tired after that race, let alone here at Okayama.
And especially if you have, again, even an H pattern shifter, so some drivers even prefer to use the clutch. So you may have some drivers doing some heel toe and then using the clutch and having to wheel this thing around. So it really, again, depending on what level of sim racer that these drivers are with their hardware, it is not an easy feat. But 43 is starting to pull away just a little bit as 83 is starting to get his well, left or right side tires, depending on the corner, getting them into the dirt, costing him some time, but still is within striking range.
Yeah, less than 0.3 of a second as he's taking a look to the right side, entering turn 5.
Now that kind of move sometimes isn't even a move to make a pass. A lot of times the driver doing that is just to try to get in the head of the driver in front of them. They see you in the mirror, pull out a line a little bit, makes you kind of wonder what they're going to do, but a lot of times you don't actually even do that to try to make a pass.
And I think there he was too far back to even try to make a pass, so I think he was just trying to get into his head and maybe make him overdrive it, which he is starting to overdrive. Looks like Dunn is.
That was an attempt to make a pass. I do believe he really saw the opportunity as the 43 was taking a wide entry, and he just tried filling that gap in. Now he's going to be right on the back bumper through the last corner and seeing if he can get the run down the straightaway, but I don't think he's going to get it. The 43 got the run, and he'll pull away just by a little bit as Postigo's starting to drop off the end of these guys.
Yeah, Postigo losing some ground. He was about 0.3 of a second slower than Dunn and 0.2 slower than Alvarez. See if he makes some time up, as Alvarez is doing just that, making some of that time up he lost through the last corner.
Yeah, some of these drivers are better on the high-speed sections, other drivers are faster through the technical sections. Just sometimes it depends on just driver style. It's not setup related. We know with the fixed setup under the hood of all these drivers tonight, but some drivers just kind of take better to certain parts of the track. And again, Alvarez he's just out of dive range, as I call it right now, but he's trying his hardest to gain that time back up on corner entry, but sometimes that will be your dismay on exit, especially through these technical sectors, through the actually I forgot what these corners were called already.
That corner there that they just went through his pipe, or now going into Redmond.
See, the beauty of being a primarily oval channel is we know 4 corners, 6 if it's Pocono, in the words of Evan, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have names. I mean, we haven't named turn 1 at Charlotte anything fancy yet. It's just turn 1. So still getting used to the whole terminology of named corners on tracks that we're not aware of, so forgive our
turn 1 here is just called the first corner, so
yes, forgive our slight ignorance. At least we have 2 corners, right? Again into the first corner again, and it does look like the 83 is starting to run a little bit more inconsistent, so we'll focus on something else for a while. And de Blasio just cruising along. He was about 6 seconds back. Now he's closer to 7, about 6 3/4. So again, he's not dropping off that much. If they were on an even keel right now, I'd almost say he'd probably only be about 2 seconds back, but with that gap he had before the pit stop entering that run, obviously it has compounded to be about that 7-second lead again.
And going to be 10 laps to go here at the stripe, as Stevenson is coming through the last corner now. Down the front stretch, and he's going to take 10 to go here.
Yep, 10 to go, as again, the top 2 already are locked in. We've kind of gone through some playoff scenarios of drivers not here to fight for their positions that will likely lose their playoff run heading into the remainder of the season, as obviously with the real world campaign running to an end, our mirroring schedule is following suit. There's a couple of tires in the grass there for the 47, what carries on. We will head to back to semi-normalcy next week, if you will. We'll head to the Monster Mile, which it's more normal, but that is not an easy track. A lot of drivers can get eaten up in somebody else's incident there just by how narrow and fast it is. But speaking of getting eaten up in somebody else's incident, we go to Talladega the week after that, and then this round will end up at Kansas Speedway under the lights. And having a slight unknown at Talladega, obviously being Talladega, but there was a draft model update not too long ago, and I haven't run too many laps in it so to know how much different it is, but I think it may allow a lot more racy conditions than what we may have known in the Cup car prior.
Yeah, and the aero package we had before for the Cup cars, it was a lot of just single file. The outside lane really couldn't get going. So hopefully with these changes in this last build, we'll find out here in 2 weeks, but hopefully they made it where we can have a lot more side-by-side and 3 wide and just more passing in general.
Yeah, I think they upped the rev limiter a little bit so that we don't top out, and just tweak some aero things and hopefully allow some more runs to build and drivers to gain some time. So again, we'll see how that is, and we know how Kansas is, and especially where we will be under the lights. These guys will be most likely rim riding the fence the whole time, and we know a lot of slide jobs happen there and guys hitting the wall, so not an easy round heading up for the round of 12. And then we narrow down even further. We head to Martinsville, the short track, the half-mile paperclip, which a lot of tempers can flare, and again, bumpers to be had. And Texas, and then ISM Raceway rounds out the round of 8, and then it all ends up at Homestead on November 26th. But the 69 of Postigio has closed in right on the back bumper of Alvarez. That is for the 4th position, heading into the actually no, this is Atwood Curve. Got to get a good run out of this.
Postigio getting loose there, almost went around out of turn 5.
Just said that was the corner you have to get a good run for to get down the back straightaway, but obviously that is not the case. So now he has about 1.5 seconds that he's going to have to make back up as he's sliding the nose there. He's got sideways on the braking zone. Must be really pushing every last foot of braking into that, trying to go in just a little bit harder, and nearly lost the thing, but I'll try to get through the technical section here. Trying to gain some kind of time back. Overshot that corner a little bit, didn't nail the curb. You want to get right on that apex. As pretty much missing the apex can almost cost you a 10th. And he missed it on both sides of that chicane there, as the double right-handers to complete yet another lap.
Stevenson now to a 7-second lead over de Blasio.
Got some more lap traffic to be had right in front of him.
58 of Camilio Thompson and the 78 of Todd Thomas.
We'll be down to, we're currently down to 11 on the lead lap. It will be 9 once Stevenson makes do with those drivers. But they are battling for position right now. I mean, absolutely on the tail end of the lead lap, but they are battling for position right now, right in front of your leader. Only separated by about a second or so. Let's see how Stevenson is able to navigate by. We've seen a couple times tonight where it is just difficult to get that lap car to be where it needs to be, depending where they catch you on the circuit.
Let's see here, as he should catch up to them this lap. About a second faster last time, but it was Stevenson over Camilio. You can see he gains a lot of time there through turn 2. Now turn 3 and then the S's.
Yeah, both of them again are battling for position, and it does look like Thompson is closing in on Thomas as we head through Atwood Curve down the back straightaway. I tell you, they're not running too far off pace. I thought he would have caught them by now, Stevenson would have, but they're actually holding pretty steady pace now. But Stevenson also having that massive lead is able to back it off and show some patience here.
Yeah, does he want to try and get by these guys?
I think he does, just because he is faster and he knows he'll pull away, but there's not any kind of rush to do so. He can wait for the best and safest opportunity and then take it then.
Because here through the technical areas, you can see he is gaining quite a bit of time on them. So I think if he did stay behind them, he probably would lose quite a bit, if not all of his lead.
Yeah, he doesn't want to stay behind them for the whole run, but by all means, I think at some point too they might just pull over. There goes Thompson, letting him go. So now that just leaves a 78 of Todd Thomas, which now is about a second ahead. Maybe a battle off of the lead lap shaking up. Actually, it's Jay Highs, but now we're back 12th and 13th off the lead lap, but still a battle nonetheless. 06 and the 17. Do apologize for the black cars. There has been some kind of issue on a couple people's end with the Camaros, getting them to show up on screen. I'm not sure, have not figured it out yet, but I know, Evan, you had the problem as well as a couple other people, so a lot of black bandits out tonight. Again, apologies for that.
Heisman is trying to get the spot from Frolich. Out of turn 1 now. Coming through turn 2, and looks like Heisman did close in a little bit through there.
See into the braking zone into Atwood Curve. Not much going on. It looks like the 17, a little bit of a wiggle, but he actually got through it a little bit better, at least from what it appeared. Down the back straightaway into the braking zone. Definitely give the advantage to Heisman on the braking zone.
Gap now about a half a second, under a half second now into turn 6. But Heisman a little bit wide through that corner, did lose some time now through 7. Back up to a little over a half second now after he went wide in 6.
So that battle has fizzled out just a little bit, but a lot of activity still going on. It does look like Alvarez, he lost some time and seems he's starting to gain it back. And Postigo, he was about a second and a half behind Alvarez. Remember, he had a little bit of a wiggle. He has gained a half second of that. So again, this is 3rd, 4th, 5th active battles for position. All of this is over 40 seconds behind the leader.
Stevenson de Blasio gap now about 6.7 seconds, so de Blasio did manage to close in a little bit there.
Yeah, remember, he gains tenths at a time. He's a little bit faster on the long run, at least kind of trades laps, but he just de Blasio, I'm sorry, Stevenson just is so consistent and so fast on the first 5-10 laps that, as we said, those couple tenths that here and there that de Blasio was able to gain really just don't amount to anything.
Yeah, Stevenson now behind Todd Thomas, trying to put him a lap down. I think it's slowing him down just a little bit here. Though with only 4 laps to go, Stevenson really doesn't need to push too hard to put the 7-8 a lap down.
I mean, effectively, he could stay behind him the entire time, and I don't think there'd be any concern of de Blasio being able to get there. I mean, he's not going to do that, I can't imagine, but it's definitely not something that would be much of a concern. But 5 laps to go will turn into 4 laps to go. About 5 minutes of action left here from Japan.
Stevenson getting even closer to Todd Thomas now through turn 2.
At this point where it almost seems as though the gap is stabilizing until the braking zone where Stevenson drove it in there all the way in and tried to gain some time, but he does lose it on the corner exits. Thomas got that run off of the exit. Sam Nieto is on the edge of the picture here. Remember, he had a really good run going and lost it as the race progressed. Will still likely get a top 10 out of it as de Blasio just was able to get around. I think that was Camilio Thompson. And the gap now actually under 6 seconds, so Stevenson is losing some time. I just don't think it's enough time to really worry. And if he does start to worry, I think he will just zoom by, or at that point the 78 may have just let him go.
Yeah, currently only 3 laps to go here.
Nothing really to fight for the 78. There's not really any reason to hold them up. There's no lucky dog, no free pass. Nothing is going to really mean anything other than pride to finish the race on the lead lap.
The gap is already back up to 6 seconds. We're hanging right around that 5.96 seconds. Yeah, he went a bit wide there through the final corner and lost some time to Thomas.
Yeah, we know that. I mean, I know that at least in some cars, if you get the right rear in the dirt, or the whatever side of the turn you are on, if you get that outside rear wheel in the dirt, you can sometimes hook it around rather easily the way it'll bite and dig into the dirt. So That is something to watch out for. We haven't seen it tonight, but it is definitely something that can happen.
Gap about 5.6 seconds now, but it's not enough time unless Stevenson has a major mistake.
Again, Thomas not really showing any signs of letting him go. He's really going to make Stevenson take this lap away from him. It will bring the lead slightly under 4 seconds at this point, so this has lost him 2 seconds getting around him. Postigio still has not been able to close on Alvarez. He is about a half second back, but William Dunn, we missed this. He did have a spin. Lost about 5 seconds, lost 2 positions on the racetrack. Adam de Blasio around.
So that's really going to help out Stevenson. He really doesn't have to worry at all about being stuck behind that 78.
See what happened to de Blasio. See, he's making a left-hander here, and something happened to that car because it just did not stop turning. That wasn't even loose from what I saw.
Yeah, it's some sort of mechanical issue.
It was just hard left. It just almost like his wheel locked to the left on him, but all seems to be fine now. Now he's 15 seconds back with some damage, but he has 25 seconds in a rear, so he has plenty of real estate to before he has to worry about losing second. But definitely some kind of odd issue there. But 2 laps to go on the board as we are headed down the back straightaway here, and Thomas has pulled away, so I think Stevenson has just really chosen.
Stevenson just let him get away.
No worry now. I don't have absolutely anything to worry about now, so just cruise and keep that car on the blacktop for about a lap and a half more.
Still Postigio and Alvarez going at it, but just about 0.3 of a second is the gap there, and Postigio is going to have to start getting more aggressive here and maybe taking some more dives to try and get around him with only going to be a lap and a half to go.
Yeah, this is the latter end of the podium here. Trying to get on that bottom step is Postigio. He's within. Now he's not within diving range. He was at about 0.3 of a second, but he's really going to have to sail it on in there, but not quite ready yet. But coming off of the last corner, taking the white flag is Don Stevenson.
Only 11 more corners for him to navigate here, and he'll get his second win in a row for Stevenson.
Battle going on at the end of the lead lap right now. Eric de Blasio and Nick Tarabush. That's for the 7th spot. We'll try to follow that as we navigate the last lap. Couple battles for position may shake up here, but got to focus on your leader, Don Stevenson, who has just played a absolutely perfect race. I mean, he's put a couple wheels off. Can't say it's been that perfect, but hasn't made any serious mistakes. He has had the fastest car, had a nice smooth pit stop, and a little bit of a scare with a lap car once or twice, but got through it just fine, and already had the win from last week at Richmond to lock him in, so had no pressure coming into tonight and was able to just set sail, just to have fun and take advantage of the road course. He's admitted that he is really a road course guy and has had a very dominant run on a couple of the road courses this season. Didn't go 3 for 3. I think he lost to Sonoma to Adam de Blasio, but he is looking to take 2 of the 3 road courses on the schedule this season for the Integrity Racing League as we head through Mike Knight Corner and into the final corner here at Okayama. Rounding out the round of 16 in the playoffs as we head to the round of 12. You'll definitely see the 47 in there. He will be advancing on his second win of the round. Don Stevenson wins at Okayama.
And for sure joining Don Stevenson in that second round of the playoffs is going to be Adam de Blasio with his win at Vegas, and now his second place finish here in Okayama. He's going to advance through and Now we got a long wait before third.
Yeah, the ticker already showed the 83 finishing third, but that's not official yet. And these guys are right on each other's bumper. So this may be a interesting final corner here. The last corner, will Postigio sail it in there? He will not. So as long as 83 stays on the racetrack, will it be a drag race? Postigio got off the line really well. He's gonna take it down to the inside, take a look, doesn't have the momentum, so it is Alvarez, but he took a stab at it. A couple more battles as the lap runs out. Looks like Eisenhower will take the spot over de Blasio, and then Terrabush did drop back, so as everybody does cross the line, obviously a lot longer than an oval, so everyone has a lot longer to go to complete the race, but one thing we do know is the victory tonight goes to Don Stevenson, so as at this point most everybody has completed their lap, we can run through the final results here tonight from Okayama. With the victory here tonight, leading all but 2 laps tonight, Don Stevenson dominating victory. Adam de Blasio was able to take one of those laps. Guillermo Alvarez will finish third, Renato Postigio in fourth, and the only other person to be registered as a lap leader tonight was William Dunn in fifth. Caleb Eisenhower finished in sixth. Eric de Blasio in seventh, Nick Terrabush in eighth, Samuel Nieto in ninth, and then Todd Thomas, the top 10.
And finishing in 11th, the first car lap down, Camilo Thompson, Neil Froelich in 12th, Jay Heisman in the 13th position, Alan Roll in 14th, Ken Weatherall in 15th. Rest of the top 20, we have Alan Pahari, Cody Smith, Lee Pierce, Joseph Yates, Nick Zotner running out the top 20, and rest of the field, Jacob Fife and Tyler Hurt in 22nd.
Alright, so that is the grid, and we do have to wait for these drivers to jump in the booth with us so we can talk to them after their efforts here tonight. So we'll be back after a brief break and we'll have the post-race show for you. Stay with us. Well, that was a short break because we do have 2 of the top 3. We know we're not going to have Guillermo Alvarez in third, so we can start the post-race show by talking to the second place finisher, Adam de Blasio, and I'll have a quick word with him. All right, Adam, it was definitely a new race for everybody today, being at the road course here in Japan at Okayama, and I know Don Stevenson had it circled on his calendar, and he definitely showed that he was the fastest car, but he had a solid second place car all night. What was it like wheeling that 48 around here tonight?
Well, this is the first race I've ever done here at Okayama, so it was absolutely new to me. I did a practice session that Guillermo put up, and then I did the practice session Fife put up last night. Only could do an hour last night because I wanted to do NIS though, but it was fun. I like turning right. And first, my first time here, just being within 8 seconds of Don, who I know is a great road racer and probably seen this track multiple times, is a huge accomplishment in itself. It's too bad that, I don't know if you were watching my car at that time, but I had a screen freeze, so couldn't see where I was going, and yeah, things happen, and I hope iRacing fixes that soon. I doubt they will. Hopefully that doesn't cost me in the future.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we saw you were exiting that corner and the wheel didn't stop turning left, so we were wondering what went on, but that definitely explains it. But what was the mindset coming into tonight? Obviously with the lock-in from your win at Vegas and being a wild card race that you probably knew you weren't at the most advantaged situation. What was your mindset coming into tonight, and did you ultimately fulfill what you thought you were gonna get out of it?
My mindset was win the race. No matter who's in the room, I always go out to win the race. That's what everyone, I guess, tries to do, because we're all racers at heart and we want to win. I mean, Jimmy Johnson is a prime example. You can look at it and say he could have backed off and advanced into the next round of the playoffs, but that checkered flag was in sight, and looking back at it, he probably kind of knew he would get eliminated in a future round, so might as well go for that win. And I was going for that win, and when Todd and Don were battling for lead lap status, I thought I could run him down and put some pressure on him and maybe he'd make a mistake, but overall, second place is by far accomplishing what I wanted to do. I wanted to have a clean race, but you know, when you can't see where you're going, you go in the grass, and that's a 1X, so there goes that, but that's out of my control. But I did lead a lap, so I was happy with that. So yeah, it was fun.
All right, so obviously a little bit of fender bang up there, but as you said, out of your control. But either way, second place finish here on the road course heading into the round of 12. Who do you want to give a shout out to tonight?
First off, I want to thank Fife, who couldn't be here, for putting on a great league, as always. Second off, I want to thank you guys, PTRTV on LSRTV, for broadcasting the race. I know you guys said that last week it would be your first broadcast at Okayama. I hope you guys enjoyed the racetrack as much as we did here. As far as team chatter, but driver chatter, everyone seemed to really enjoy themselves here. I want to thank my Rapola brother racing teammates, Eric de Blasio, for also being an awesome brother. My first year gaming community teammates. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone, but Don, I heard right before the race started, Don actually sponsored the race. Now it's October 1st. I believe it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so I think that's the theme that he chose, and he accidentally chose the wrong car. He was saying, but yeah, I want to thank him for sponsoring that, but he'll tell you more about that in his interview. And yeah, congrats to Don on a great win.
All right, thanks again, Adam, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you next week.
Yep, see you later. Thank you.
And now, Evan has caught up with your winner, Don Stevenson.
Well, Don, you get your second win in a row and third in the season, so what are your thoughts after this race at Okayama?
It was one tough race. I mean, the car, it's a fun racetrack, but, with this heavy of a car, it was really hard to get the power down consistently. I mean, because there's so much wheel spin on these corner exits and stuff. I mean, the setup was really good and everything, but it was the car that was a little bit tough to drive, especially once the rubber got laid down on the track and it got really slick and everything. But it was a lot of fun. Had a great time.
Yeah, I'm sure this was an unknown for every single driver out there. And how many laps of practice did you put in before this race here tonight? I know a lot of drivers have put in a lot of practice. How about you?
I put in quite a bit. I mean, I did quite a few. I probably did about 4 or 5 separate 20-25 lap runs, and it's probably equaled out to about 100 laps of practice or so during the week. But I mean, I felt pretty comfortable with it. I felt really comfortable with it on a clean track, because it's not on the official side, we never had any practice on what it was going to be like once the track heated up and the rubber got laid down. So I didn't know what that was going to be, but I know everyone else didn't know what it was going to be either. And we just kind of tried to hang on there at the last run. It was a little slick.
Yeah, next week we go to Dover to start this next round of the playoffs. confident are you about going to be able to get a win there and advance to even the next round?
Well, I don't know about getting a win there at Dover. Dover is just never. I mean, Dover is a track that I used to be pretty good at. You know, when I first got on iRacing several years ago, but over the last couple of years, Dover just hasn't been very good to me and very kind to me. But I mean, we're hoping, hopefully, we can have a nice, good points day. You know, try to approach it like we did this round. Try to, you know, put ourselves in a good position through the first 2 races. So when we get to the final race there at Dega, you know, hopefully we can have a nice points gap.
All right. Well, is there anyone you would like to thank or shout out to after your win here at Okayama?
Yeah, I want to say hi to my mom and dad. Love them very much. I know they're watching. My wonderful wife here. This terrific league here, Integrity Racing League. I mean, great group of guys. Love racing with them and hanging out with them and stuff. And you guys in the booth there for doing a great job every week.
All right, thanks for that. Thanks for talking with us, and we'll end up seeing you most likely next week, and good luck at Dover.
Thank you.
All right, so that is the post-race show. So we are going to wrap up coverage here tonight from Okayama. I'll give a quick shout out to our PTRTV sponsors, Air Movement and Fabrications, Kreutz Custom Graphics, Overlays by iBog, iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics. We used a free set of overlays provided by TrackCam's 4 Gourmets, the base set you can download online on the iRacing forums. And, well, that's about it. I want to thank the fans for tuning in, everybody tuning in to PTRTV, our coverage here on LSRTV. Thanks to LSRTV for giving the opportunity for us to showcase our 2 leagues here, Integrity Racing League and the American Sim Racing Series here on the big channel. You'll stay tuned tomorrow night, same time, for the American Sim Racing Series as they continue their playoff run. Stay tuned for that. But signing out of the booth tonight is Corey Silva and Evan Block. Have a great night, everyone, and we will catch you next time.
Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow.